Lean is law. I'm sure you've probably heard this saying before, but it is entirely true. And a lot of people don't actually realize until they've actually gotten lean for once in their life, right? Because getting lean is something I would recommend for everyone to do at least once in their life, right? And I'm not just talking about losing weight. I'm not just talking about restricting your calories and just trying to lose some weight. No, I'm talking about getting a lean, aesthetic physique, right? Sculpted by the Greek gods themselves. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Because anyone can lose weight. It's easy to just go on a calorie deficit, right? By actually incorporating weight training, cardio, nutrition, right, to lose the fat and retain and maybe even build some muscle is what I'm talking about. Because that is what sets you apart from the rest of the world, because the majority of the populace is fat, is overweight. So as soon as you're lean and you get down to a very low body fat, you automatically stand out no matter where you go. You automatically get more respect. Your clothes fit so much better. You get more attention from people, men and women, right? Depending on your preference. But it's true. And a lot of people will never actually experience this. And I just want to say that I think everyone should experience this at least once in their life, right? Even if you don't want to stay at 10%, because 10% is very hard to maintain all year round. It's very hard. But you can get there at least even once in your life. And then you can move up to, say, 12 to 15, which is a lot easier to maintain, right? You can maintain 12 to 15% year round. It takes a bit of discipline, but it's very doable, right? And I think you should incorporate discipline throughout your whole life anyway. And that's what the journey of getting lean actually taught me, is it's helped improve every aspect of my life. It's not just about getting lean and looking good and attractive, which will happen when you get lean, of course, right? But it's not just about that. It's the whole journey in itself, the discipline required to get lean, right? The restrictions you have to put in place, the mindset shift that you need to get lean is what can actually change your whole life, because it can. And I'm not just saying that lightly, because it really can. I've found how it's just helped me throughout every aspect of my life, right? I'm just more disciplined person day to day. you know I don't lounge about anymore. I have structure, I have purpose, right? And you just have this aura about you when you're lean. It's just completely different, right? You feel so good, right? You just have so much confidence and self-esteem, and it just oozes out of you, and people can sense that, right? Because when you see someone who's just overweight and fat, especially if they're a young person, you can tell just by looking at them that they're not that happy, right? A lot of them look depressed. Their skin looks pale, right? They always look tired and lethargic. You can just tell, right? But when you see someone who's lean, who's athletic, who's in great shape, you can see their muscle definition. You know, their face just looks so much better and leaner, right? It's a whole different type of aura. Yeah, and like I said, it's helped me in just when it's come to my work. I'm able to convey myself better, right? I'm able to get my opinions across better. I'm more disciplined just in general across all aspects of my life, not just when it comes to fitness. But that's what fitness does. When you're tracking your calories every day, you know, you're making sure you go to the gym, whether you feel like it or not, right? Regardless of whether you feel like it or not, you don't even sit there and contemplate and think, should I go to the gym today? Oh, I'm not sure if I'm, no, you just go, right? That's the level you get to where you don't even question it, right? You don't sit there contemplating where you're gonna, if you're gonna scoff down a bag of Doritos or not. You're just not gonna touch that food. You're not even gonna buy it. You're gonna go to the gym even when you don't feel like it. You're gonna track your food even when you can't be asked. You're gonna cook your own food even when you can't be bothered. It's all those little things combined, they all add up, and they add so much structure and so much routine day to day that it oozes out into other aspects of your life and other areas of your life, right? And you just become this all round better person, right? You become more organized, more structured, you have purpose, right? Just from going through a body transformation is what a lot of this can do, right? And I'm not just saying, like I said, I'm not just saying this lightly, but this is what can happen when you actually put in the work, you stay disciplined, you stick to your calorie deficit, you stick to your training program, you stick to your nutrition, and you do that for 6 months to a year. You're a totally different person, not just on the outside of what you look like, but the mindset required to do that for a sustained period of time, for a long period of time, to do that for 6 months to a year is different level. Nobody wants to do that, right? Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to do a calorie deficit for potentially 6 months and then go into a reverse diet and slowly increase their calories so they can boost their metabolism up slowly. No one wants to do that. Most people, they get down, they get lean, and then they blow it, right? They literally blow it. They'll just increase their calories, say, oh, I'm bulking now, and then they just get fat again, right? But if you want to do it properly and you want to get lean and you want to get down to a low body fat percentage, and then you want to reverse diet out of that, which takes even more time, no one wants to do that. But that discipline will get you a lean physique, which you'll be able to keep all year round if you do it correctly. But no one's doing that, which is why most people are overweight, most people are tired, most people are sluggish. And this is why I say you stick out when you're lean, your clothes fit better. You don't even have to worry about what you wear. You can literally go into your wardrobe. I mean, if you've lost a lot of weight, you might have to buy a whole new wardrobe, but you can literally just go to your wardrobe, pick out anything, and it's going to look good on you, right? I've said it in my previous videos. There's a reason why they use these models who are very lean and have very low body fat to model their clothes, because they look better on them, right? So this is why I say, once you're lean, every aspect of your life changes. You look in the mirror and you go, wow, that's what I done. Because there's no shortcut when it comes to this fitness journey, right? It is truly a journey of delayed gratification. You go weeks, if not months, without seeing any of the results, especially if you're someone who's 20, 25, 30% body fat. You will go probably months before you start seeing some sort of definition. I know when I went on my journey, it was probably about 3 months before I started seeing some definition. And when I was like, oh, okay, this is working now. Don't get me wrong, the scale was moving before that, but I didn't really see the change, because you don't start to see that definition until you start getting down to that lower body fat percentage, that 15% range, sometimes a bit higher, depending on how much muscle mass you have. But you don't normally start to see that definition until you get down to those low ranges, which is why a lot of people give up, because they'll be in their calorie deficit for a month or two, and they say, oh, I'm not really seeing any change, man. My diet's not working, so I'm just going to give up. And then they give up, right? And they just go back to being their average self. They have no discipline. They can't stick to it long enough. They want that instant gratification. But when it comes to this fitness journey, I'm telling you, if you stick it out for long enough, you will get the results you want. You just have to make sure you're structured, you're disciplined, you have a plan of what you're going to do, right? Because a lot of people say, oh, I'm going to get to 10% body fat. Okay. How are you going to maintain that? Do you know? Oh, well, yeah, I'm just going to go into a bulking phase. No, 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 you're cooked. So you want to get down to 10% and then you go straight to a calorie surplus, you are cooked, my friend. You will put all that weight back on and you will balloon. Do not do that, right? So this is what I'm saying. You need a plan, right? Don't just say, I'm going to get to 10%. Have a plan. I want to get to 10% and I'm going to maintain that. This is how I'm going to go about it, right? So have a plan, because if you do not have a plan, even if you lose all that weight, you will probably put it all back on again and it's pointless, right? So this is what I'm saying. Have a plan, have a structured plan and stick to it long enough to see the results. Because fat loss is slow, it will take time, but that is what will separate you from everyone else, because no one has the discipline to do it. It's very, very simple, but no one has the discipline, right? And no one can be bothered because we live in such a lazy economy. Everyone wants things fast. You've got Deliveroo straight to your door, Amazon Prime, you know? Everyone's so used to getting things nowadays so quick that when it actually comes to a bit of having a bit of delayed gratification and thinking, right, this fat loss is going to take time, because the majority of people have been eating like crap for the past 5, maybe 10 years. And they think they can just start a fat loss journey and in 6 to 8 weeks, they're going to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's not going to happen, right? It's just not going to happen, right? You need time. It takes a lot of time to build muscle, but you don't need huge amounts of muscle to have an athletic physique, to have a lean physique. You don't need huge amounts of muscle. You really don't. You will look 10 times better lean with a low body fat and slightly less muscle than someone who's just big and bulky and fat, right? Since I've got lean, I've never had so many people come up to me at the gym, ask me, what do I do for training? What do I eat? You know, like literally today I had someone come up to me, like a skinny guy. He says he's only been training for a year. He's like, oh man, you look experienced. How long you been training for, man? What do you eat? Da, da, da. You know, I had a good conversation with him and obviously told him like about how important nutrition is. And if I had sorted out my nutrition, because I've been lifting for roughly 8 years, right? But the first 3 to 4 years were very inconsistent. They were a bit on and off. You know, I was going out drinking and on the weekends, which was probably absolutely just killing my gains. I was eating takeaways. So I did not have a physique of someone who looked like they went to the gym, even though I was going gym probably 3 to 4 times a week at a push. And then I would sort of miss like 3 weeks and then I would go again and I'd be consistent again for like 3 weeks. So I was very on and off, but the point is, if I had sorted out my nutrition and my consistency back then, I would be in greater shape than I am now. But I didn't have that discipline back then. I didn't have the consistency either. Right? I was young and silly, partying, drinking, all that stuff. But I wish I had locked in more back then, because like I said, I would be in a much better position now. But again, you live and you learn, right? So this is why I say, right? If you want to be average, then you do the average thing, which is what everyone else does. Sits on their ass, eats crap, gets fat. It's easy to be fat. It's so easy to be fat. I could be fat so easily because I have a huge appetite. I would be, if I did not have the discipline I have, I would still be fat 100% because I have such a huge appetite. But I have learned to balance things out, right? So do I treat myself now and again? Yes, I'm not a robot, right? You can treat yourself now and again, but it's about not being greedy essentially, right? Because most people nowadays are just greedy. They don't have any self-control. they go to grab a big bag of Doritos crisps, and rather than just have a handful, they'll eat the whole bag, right? And this is why I say, when you're on your journey to getting lean, you've only got to get lean once. You've only got to do it once, and that's it, right? So put all of these snacks, these sweets away, right? Don't buy them in the first place, and then you won't be tempted to eat them, because most people don't have any self-control. And I struggle with self-control. You can't just rely on willpower and discipline. It will get you so far, but let's be honest, if there's a bag of crisps in the cupboard, are you going to eat them? Probably yes, especially if you're hungry and you're in a calorie deficit, which is why you shouldn't buy them in the first place, because then you won't be tempted to eat them, right? So out of sight, out of mind, as they say. Yeah. But this is why I say that lean is law. You'll get so much more respect. You'll look better. Your confidence will be through the roof. You'll get more attention from people. You will just enjoy life more, right? By just having some self-control, some discipline, and a bit of delayed gratification.